Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin was born in Boston in 1706. He was the second youngest of 16 siblings. He kept his imagination busy from a young age, teaching himself to read to keep himself busy. Benjamin quickly developed into a talented writer. He started working in his father's candle making shop when he was just 10 years old, but Benjamin did not find wax and wicks very interesting, though. When he had a chance to begin working in his brother's print shop, he realized he had found his passion. After working for several years, Benjamin ran away to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He wanted to learn more about the printing trade. In 1727, shortly after he turned 20 years old, Benjamin opened his own print shop in Philadelphia. Benjamin was elected as the official printer of the city of Pennsylvania in 1730. He published many successful works. One of his most notable works was Poor Richard's Almanac. This famous almanac features many silly but wise sayings, such as, "There are no gains without pains." People thought very highly of Franklin and his work. After his success grew, Franklin began to purchase land and other businesses. He started a library so he could share his love of printed text. He also started a fire department to protect the citizens of Pennsylvania. Franklin also found time to explore other interests like science and politics. As tensions rose between the British and the colonists in the late 1760s, Franklin became involved. The Stamp Act, the British passed the Stamp Act in 1765, which placed an additional tax on all printed items. This greatly affected Benjamin's business. Luckily, he had made enough money that he was able to retire. Franklin decided to spend his time becoming more involved in politics. He tried to gain back the American rights by speaking out against the Stamp Act in London. In 1775, Franklin was chosen as a member of the Continental Congress. A little over a year later, he helped draft the Declaration of Independence. Toward the end of the Revolutionary War, Franklin traveled to Europe to help establish the Treaty of Paris. This treaty confirmed France's support of the colonists in the war. This helped that the French provided the colonists, helped them win the war. After the war was over, Benjamin Franklin worked as a diplomat. A diplomat is a person who represents their home country in other nations. Benjamin also served as a representative to the Constitutional Convention, the group that drafted the Constitution which outlines the American government. Benjamin Franklin never set out to become one of the founding fathers of America, but his passion and interest in so many subjects led him to be an important part of the founding of our country. He was also instrumental in the country's growth and development. Before, during, and after his time in politics, Franklin worked as an inventor and a scientist. Some of his most famous experiments were conducted with electricity. He proved that lightning is electric through his famous kite experiment, and also invented the lightning rod. The lightning rod protects buildings from lightning strikes. Franklin is also famous for inventing bifocals, a type of eyeglasses, an odometer for a carriage, and the Franklin stove. His works were groundbreaking and are still remembered and studied today. Fast fact. When he was working at his brother's print shop, Franklin published his first 14 essays using a pseudonym to hide his identity. A pseudonym is a secret name. His pen name was Mrs. Silence Dogood. Fast fact, Franklin's face is featured on the $100 bill. Another fast fact, the Continental Congress chose Benjamin Franklin to be the first postmaster of the United States in 1775. When the first postage stamps were printed in 1846, Franklin's face was featured on them. George Washington's face was on some of the stamps too.